Hey, good evening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gadi Schwartz coming to you from Los Angeles. And here are the stories we're watching tonight, starting with a scorching heat wave that scientists are calling uncharted territory. And while millions of Americans are here baking in the heat, parts of Europe are literally burning. And an investigation has been launched in Ohio into why a police dog attacked a black man with his hands up, appearing to surrender. The Justice Department is suing the state of Texas for refusing to remove a floating barrier in the middle of the Rio Grande River. The response from the Texas governor: see you in court. We're going to tell you what our crew is seeing happen there right now. And just two movies made up for nearly 80% of the overall box office totals this weekend. So is this a sign that movie-going is back?
I might stay over tonight.
Why?
Because we're girlfriend-boyfriend.
To do what?
I'm actually not sure.
And tonight, there is so much heat to talk about. About 60 million people are under heat alerts across the country. In Phoenix, it was the 25th consecutive day of temperatures higher than 110. Today's high, a scorching 114 degrees, and tomorrow it could hit as high as 118 with no sign of relief anytime soon. Now, to put that in perspective, that is hot enough to bake cookies on your car's dashboard. And Maricopa County's emergency department did just that. They released this video of baking cookies inside of a car, crispy and done after 3.5 hours. So with that kind of heat, you can imagine the kind of panic you'd feel if you accidentally locked your baby in the car. That's what happened to this one family out of Harlingen, Texas. In this video, you see a dad smashing the windshield of his car to rescue a baby from that scorching heat. Temperatures in Texas have been above 90 degrees for a while now as well. Then in places like Nevada, authorities are warning people to stay inside if they can after two women who were hiking were found dead in a state park. State police have not released a possible cause of death yet, but the area has seen highs of 114. And so far, Clark County, Nevada has seen 16 heat-related deaths. Arizona has confirmed 18 heat-related deaths, with 69 more under investigation. Meanwhile, over in Florida, heat advisories are in place as well as the heat index in Miami crossed 100 degrees for the 44th day today. NBC's Marissa Parra has more.
Hey, yeah, this is now day 44 in Miami of a heat index. We're talking about real field temperatures in the triple digits. Now, not so bad if you're right next to the water. You have plenty of access to air conditioning, plenty of access to water itself to drink. But it is downright grueling if you are outside, whether that is by choice, whether it is because of your labor. And we're seeing just how dangerous, if not deadly, this is. This isn't just here in Miami or Florida. This is coast to coast. And this has not just been this week. Again, this is something that has stretched on for weeks on end. Out in Phoenix, I was reporting on how first responders are seeing this strain. Hospitals are seeing this strain. We have seen rescues for hikers out of the west. We've seen hikers need to be either rescued. We have seen this become deadly for those who have been trapped on the trails. We've also seen this become deadly for those who have suffered from third-degree burns or internal body temperatures upwards of 110 degrees. So we talked about the strain on hospitals in places like Arizona. We also had a chance to speak with the chief here, one of the chiefs of fire here in Miami-Dade County, about what a strain it's putting not just on the first responders in the hospitals, but on the men and women themselves doing all the responding to this uptick in heat-related calls.
On emergency scenes, calls that might have taken, 5 or 6 units, we're pretty much doubling personnel to rotate crews in and out much quicker, giving them short amount of time to work and more rest in between.
Now, in the county just outside of Phoenix, that is Maricopa County, they have seen at least 18 heat-related deaths since April. And this is something that, again, is gaining traction across the South here in terms of measures that can be taken to protect those who work outside. We just saw an ordinance move through one of the first of many hurdles to come in terms of protecting workers that have to work outside, whether it's construction, whether it's farm work. That's down here in Miami-Dade County. But, when it comes to whether there's going to be a break in the heat, well, here's the thing. The heat dome is not only not going away anytime soon, we're seeing that it is now expanding now to include the Midwest and the Plains.
Alarming news. And Marissa Parra, thanks so much. Meanwhile, this excessive heat continues to stretch across other parts of the world with devastating effects. In Greece, the island of Rhodes is going up in flames. Firefighters have been battling wildfires there for nearly a week. Around 20,000 people have been evacuated so far, a lot of them tourists, as people were told to leave homes, hotels, and resorts immediately. Latest satellite images show the extent of the fires, with experts saying that the current weather conditions, high winds, and high temperatures could make things a lot worse. NBC's Josh Letterman has more.
This wildfire has been raging for a week now here in the island of Rhodes. And if you want to understand why it's so difficult for firefighters to put out, take a look at what's happening behind me. This is the town of Masari. And just a few hours ago, these flames were nowhere near the town. Now the flames are quickly coming down the hill, threatening the town. It is unclear whether Masari will survive the night. And we're seeing this all across the island as these heavy winds are whipping up these flames, reigniting areas that had previously burned, as firefighters now use 10 airplanes, 8 helicopters to try to put this fire out. More and more villages are being evacuated, and as they are, more and more tourists and residents alike are displaced. We have been talking with some of the 19,000 people who have been evacuated already in what is the largest evacuation in this country's history, some of them now sleeping on basketball courts, in stadiums, as well as in school classrooms, on donated mats and cots, people going anywhere they can to escape the flames.
Thanks, Josh. And July is usually the hottest month of the summer, but this July, it is on track to be one of the hottest months on Earth on record. Records dating back as far as the 1800s, possibly well beyond that. And from Arizona to Florida to Rome to China, the entire world has been sweltering for weeks now. And the heat combined with climate events like El Nino are likely to make 2023 on track to be one of the warmest years on record, while 2024 could get even warmer. And joining us now is Ben Kirtman. He is a professor of atmospheric sciences over at the University of Miami. Professor, thanks so much for being with us. Hottest month on record, potentially hottest year on record. Did we humans do this?
Well, thanks for having me on the show. I think a big part of it is human activities associated with burning fossil fuels. Certainly there's a part of the signal that's due to the emerging El Nino, but some of these crazy records that we're breaking right now in the world's oceans are due to human activities and CO2 emissions associated with that.
I read that recent Canadian wildfires released so much carbon that it was roughly equivalent to Canada's entire greenhouse emissions from 2021. I imagine it's not exactly apples to apples, but that seems to be like the beginning of a very scary feedback loop. Is that right?
It's possible. It's possible. It's a really important feedback loop. You know, normally you have wildfires and then the regrowth over the next decade or so sucks up the emissions that happen with that wildfire. But these wildfires in Canada are huge and large emissions, and it's going to take quite some time for the regrowth to suck up all that carbon that was released with those fires. So there is a concern, at least for the next decade or two, that those fires may be contributing. And if we're unable to regrow there, if drought conditions prevail, then that carbon will remain in the atmosphere for quite some time. And that's a problem.
So I got to ask, if loops like that start running out of control, does that make, this is kind of a doomer perspective, but does that make all the things we've done to limit greenhouse gas emissions moot?
No, I don't think so. Really, in a global sense, fire is somewhere around 5, maybe 7% of total carbon emissions. So the big carbon emissions are really associated with fossil fuel burning that associated with transportation, coal, things like that. So it's important. Regionally, very important. It's certainly air quality issues, but all the things that we're putting into place, more electronic vehicles, reducing fossil fuel emissions, carbon capture, all of those things are going to have benefit going forward. Hopefully this forest will regrow quickly and drought will not be a problem. And, a decade from now, the carbon emission will be sucked up.
And Professor, I can't imagine the amount of charts that you're looking at on a daily basis, but between the sea ice in the Antarctic to the temperatures in the different oceans, what is it that you're seeing right now that alarms you the most?
What keeps me up at night is what you're asking. Well, I think an ice-free Arctic in the summer, September, keeps me up at night. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about Greenland ice sheet being lubricated from below and destabilizing. I'm worried about Antarctic ice sheets on land also being lubricated from below and destabilizing. And just when you think about the temperature records that we've been setting over the last few months or so in that first graphic that you showed, normally when we send temperature records, it's a tenth of a degree here, a tenth of a degree there. They're small numbers. These are big numbers. These are half a degree, quarters of a degree. When you look at the ocean temperatures off Florida, we recorded something like 97 degrees Fahrenheit in the water just south of the Everglades. That broke the previous record by order 5 degrees. So those numbers are enormous. It's just wacky. We can't be setting these kind of numbers, and so that's the kind of thing that keeps me up at night.
To think of a beach as a hot tub, it just blows your mind. Professor, thanks so much for being with us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
And the Justice Department is suing the state of Texas for refusing to get rid of a spiked floating barrier on the Rio Grande. Now, the civil complaint uses a law passed in 1899 to claim that the marine barrier breaks federal law. And the argument is that the buoys are an unauthorized obstruction to a waterway. Today, Governor Greg Abbott sent a letter to President Biden about this latest showdown on the Mexican border. And Abbott says it is going to stay. Abbott tweeted in part that Texas will use its sovereign authority to respond to the border crisis, which he says is all Biden's fault. Over the past couple of weeks, Texas has built a 1,000-foot floating barrier near Eagle Pass, and that spiked buoy, those are meant to keep migrants from trying to cross illegally. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson joins us now from Eagle Pass, Texas, close to that barrier. Priscilla, this is the federal government versus the state of Texas. What's the core of the government's case here?
Yeah, Gadi, you see that buoy there still behind me in the water. And what the federal government is saying that this is a violation of the Rivers and Harbors Act. They say that Governor Abbott needed to get clearance from the federal government, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, before placing this in the water. And they are saying that it is illegal. They're also saying that it's inhumane. And that is something that we've heard echoed by a number of migrant advocates here who feel that migrants may try to swim under the buoy because you can't climb over it. It'll just keep rotating if you try to do that. And they fear that it could lead to migrants drowning or potentially attempting to jump in between the buoys, and that could be very dangerous. But I've got to tell you, what we've seen here today is migrants simply walking past the buoys. They're about 3 football fields in length, and so a lot of folks are just walking until they get the end of the buoys and to the end of the buoys and then crossing over. We've also seen some folks attempting to jump in between the buoys. As you mentioned, there are some sharp metal objects in between the buoys, but folks are still finding a way over. And so what we're hearing from a lot of people here is that questioning how effective this actually is, in addition to the legal challenges that the DOJ is presenting. Gadi?
So you've seen people still crossing, and you've seen people just going around these buoys. How many people today do you think you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a couple of groups of anywhere from 30 to 50 migrants that are still coming ashore. I actually had an interaction with a woman who was 8 months pregnant with her partner. Both of them had come from Honduras, and they literally were at the end of the buoy, and they began to make their way up the embankment. And it was very concerning. She looked very exhausted, and ultimately Customs and Border Patrol had to go down there and cut the fence open to get her out because she would have had to walk much further down in order to get to a gate that would have allowed her to get out, and they would have brought them up for processing. But these are some of the challenges that are happening here, not just with the buoys, but this is a multi-billion-dollar border protection plan or security plan that Governor Abbott has put in place. So there's razor wire all along the embankment, and then you also have all of this fencing here, making it very challenging for folks when they do get out of the water to sort of make their way up to seek asylum. But and it's concerning. It's very hot out here, and so you have folks who are getting dehydrated, but they are not stopping making the journey. It doesn't appear that this is deterring people from making that journey. It's only making it more difficult and perhaps more dangerous. Gadi?
There's the story of the legal battle, and then there's the story of what's actually happening there on the ground. NBC's Priscilla Thompson, thanks so much. And still to come, massive protests in Israel, all because of an overhaul of the courts that give a lot more power to the prime minister. It's becoming so bad that hundreds of Air Force Reserve pilots say they are not going to show up for duty.
We're not going to continue to risk our lives going to serve in an Air Force of a country that is not democratic.
Hey there, welcome back. And here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. A chef for the Obama family was found dead in Martha's Vineyard. Tafari Campbell was apparently killed while paddleboarding near the former president's home. In a statement, the Obamas called Campbell a beloved part of our family. He was a sous chef at the White House and then stayed on to keep working with his family. He was last seen paddleboarding. He was 45 years old. President Biden is creating a new monument to honor Emmett Till and his mother. There will be 3 sites across Illinois and Mississippi. Now, Emmett Till's lynching and his mother's decision to publish the photos of his body were turning points during the civil rights movement. And more than 30 people were hurt when a second-story deck collapsed at a Montana country club over the weekend. A dozen more were treated at the scene. Now, it's unclear how many people were on the deck when it collapsed. And a grizzly bear apparently killed a woman near Yellowstone National Park this weekend. Montana Fish and Wildlife say they found her body on a trail, and there were grizzly tracks near that scene. The department issued a warning to visitors about those bears, posting photos of just how massive they can be. Look at that right there. They are also encouraging hikers and campers to carry bear mace with them. And that blue Twitter bird has flown the coop. Twitter owner Elon Musk just unveiled a new name and logo for the social media site. It is called X. He says the X embodies the imperfections in all of us that make us unique. And in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his party just passed a controversial new law that says the Supreme Court can't really overturn any government decisions, basically limiting their whole checks and balances system. And that has a lot of people there outraged.
מרב מיכאלי, בעד. מרב מיכאלי, נגד. שלי טל מירון.
Meanwhile, out on the streets, thousands of people are protesting across Israel. The country's biggest labor union is even thinking about a national strike. NBC's Raf Sanchez has more.
Hours after Israel's parliament passed this divisive law to weaken the Israeli Supreme Court, you can see protesters remain on the streets, and they say that they will stay on the streets, continuing the fight to preserve, they say, Israel's democracy. But amid the defiance, there is real fear about this country's future tonight. One woman we spoke to earlier today had tears in her eyes after this bill went through. She said she is not sure what she is going to tell her children about this country's future. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu says this is a badly needed reform to curb the power of unelected Supreme Court judges who he says are standing in the way of his democratically elected government delivering its agenda. In the end, the vote in Parliament was 64-0 as all members of Netanyahu's right-wing religious majority voted for the bill. Opposition lawmakers walking out of the parliamentary chamber in protest. But the opposition to this bill shouldn't be measured just in the votes in Parliament, nor in how many people are on the streets here. Major Israeli businesses have shut their doors today in protest, and thousands of Israeli military reservists have said they will no longer show up for reserve duty because they signed up to serve in the military of a country that is a democracy. They are not sure whether Israel remains one. This has the potential to make a political crisis into a national security crisis, especially in the Israeli Air Force, where in some squadrons, half of the pilots are reservists. The Israeli chief of staff, the head of the military, has warned there could be be real damage to military readiness, military cohesion because of the divisions caused by this bill. Prime Minister Netanyahu, in pushing ahead today, also ignoring a last-minute plea from President Biden, who urged him to hit pause on this legislation to seek consensus. The White House today is saying it is unfortunate that this legislation went through with the slimmest possible majority. And there is real questions tonight about what this right-wing government will do with the Supreme Court's powers at least scaled back, what it will do in the occupied West Bank, where it says it wants to expand settlements, what it will do here inside of Israel, where it wants to make the country more religious. There is a lot of fear among women, among the LGBTQ community about where this government is going to go. And the relationship between the United States and Israel under strain tonight, a relationship that President Biden repeatedly has said is based on shared values, one of which is a commitment to democracy. Back to you.
Ralph Sanchez, thanks so much. And coming up, Jamie Foxx is sharing how he's doing after that medical scare, saying he went to hell and back. But first, you gotta see this. So we know there was a winner for the $1 billion Powerball ticket in Los Angeles at this particular mini mart. So what would you think if you went there and you saw this? All right, so here now for the only an LA twist, despite the performance of a lifetime. Turns out she's not the jackpot winner. We still don't know who the winner is, but give that lady an Oscar stat. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Let's get you caught up in 30 seconds. The dangerous heat is not letting up. More than 60 million Americans are under some sort of heat alert today. Phoenix has seen 25 straight days of 110 degrees or higher. And nearly 20,000 people were forced from their homes in Rhodes, Greece because of the wildfires there. That is the largest wildfire evacuation ever for the country. Now, the DOJ is suing Texas for the border wall made of buoys along the Rio Grande put in place to block migrants. The lawsuit wants the state to remove the 1,000-foot barrier, calling it illegal. Now, today, we finally seem to have some solid answers in that confusing case of 25-year-old Carly Russell. Alabama police are now saying that Russell, who called 911 and reported seeing a toddler walking on the interstate, was lying about being kidnapped. In fact, they claim she was lying about all of it. They shared a statement from Russell's lawyer earlier today.
There was no kidnapping on Thursday, July 13th, 2023. My client did not see a baby on the side of the road. My client did not leave the Hoover area when she was identified as a missing person. My client did not have any help in this incident, but this was a single act done by herself.
After she made that 911 call about that toddler, Russell went missing for 2 days and later claimed it was because she was abducted. That set off a nationwide search. Police say they are in contact with the district attorney's office about potential criminal charges. And today we got new body cam video of a traffic stop in Ohio, which shows a police officer releasing a dog on an unarmed black man who had his hands in the air. Now, this all happened on July 4th in a town called Circleville, which is just south of Columbus. And this video shows police surrounding a semi-truck where the 23-year-old driver, Jadarius Rose, is seen with his hands raised. Now, you should know this video was released and edited by Ohio State Police, and a warning, it's disturbing.
Don't release the dog. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Don't. Do not. Get the dog off of him. Get the dog off of him. Get the dog. Get out the dog. Get the cat. Get the cat. Get the dog off.
And joining us now from Circleville, Ohio, is NBC's Jesse Kirsch. Jesse, can you tell us about the video that was just released? It sounds like you hear police officers saying, "Do not release the dog with his hands in the air." Is that right?
Yeah, and that's something that was said again and again, Gadi. And after the mauling incident unfolds, you can see on the body camera video, the state trooper who was wearing that body camera is asking others about essentially, did I say this enough? Did I make it clear? And they said, you said this repeatedly. We don't yet know what the officer who released the canine was hearing. So that's something that we are still trying to look into. And hopefully there will be more body camera footage that would show us from his perspective what he was able to hear, Gadi.
And there was also a 911 call from Rose while he was being chased by police, right? What does that tell us about the circumstances?
Yeah, so state police had said that this was an attempted traffic stop that led to a nearly 30-minute chase before the suspect, Jadarius Rose, eventually pulled over and got out of the vehicle. Authorities say he had called 911 as he was in the process of stopping and getting out of the vehicle. Authorities today releasing to NBC News some 911 audio from roughly the time and location of this incident. And though the caller, authorities say, does not identify himself, it appears to be Rose. Here's part of that 911 tape.
I'm being chased by like 20 police officers, and they all got their guns pointed directly to my truck. Okay. So now I'm trying to figure out why they got their guns all pointed to me, and they all white people. And they ain't told me nothing. I don't know why they pulling me over.
Okay, they want you to roll your window down, okay?
I did that the last time, and all of them had their guns pointed at me. You think I feel safe getting out with all these police officers?
Now, we should note, Gadi, that authorities say that suspect, Jadarius Rose, was treated at a hospital and charged criminally. We have reached out to his attorney for comment. The attorney has declined to comment, but records show that Rose is out of jail now.
What's happened since the video has been released there in Circleville?
Yeah, so there are questions about how this unfolded, what will happen moving forward. There are also questions about the possibility of race being factored in here. Of course, this was an unarmed man. This was an unarmed black man. And we spoke with someone from the Columbus NAACP, the president, who says that this scene reminded her of the 1960s civil rights struggles. And again, authorities have said that this driver, the suspect, Jadarius Rose, was unarmed at the time of this mauling incident. So there are questions about race. We asked the mayor of Circleville about this earlier. Here's part of what he said.
I would hope that race is not a part of this incident. I can't imagine it being, but.
Do you understand where that concern from some people comes?
Of course I understand it. We do not have any racial problems here in the city of Circleville.
So numerous outstanding questions here. We are expecting findings from a review panel here in Circleville in the days ahead. We're also hoping to get more records released surrounding this case. And according to the mayor, there was a separate incident earlier within the last few years involving this officer's conduct coming under scrutiny. So we're going to be looking for information surrounding that incident as well, Gadi.
Phenomenal reporting. NBC's Jesse Kirsch. Thanks so much, brother. And tonight we have a rare look inside the highly secure NORAD. That's the joint U.S.-Canadian command that is in charge of the air defense of all of North America. And right now, the skies over Alaska are a front line for NORAD in the battle against potential threats from Russia and from China. NBC News anchor Lester Holt takes a look at how that threat is evolving and some of the new technologies being used to keep the continent safe.
It is the jarring signal of another step in an uneasy and long-running dance between the U.S. and Russia. That buzzer sending an Air Force F-16 racing from its combat alert shelter near Anchorage to intercept Russian warplanes probing international airspace near Alaska. This mission, a drill, but real intercepts of Russian planes an almost monthly occurrence, though fewer officials say since the war in Ukraine. F-16 pilot Brent Rist has flown in some of the encounters.
When we're side by side, we're not communicating with them. There is always the standard message that to let them know that they're approaching American airspace. And it's professional at all times.
Is the threat level increasing in Alaska?
I think the threat level is increasing.
Lieutenant General Dave Nahom leads the Alaska Command and the Alaska NORAD region.
any threats coming from Russia, China, and that part of the world into America, they're first going to cross into Alaska airspace. This is kind of in the front lines for America and Canada.
All right, here we go. Start in 3.
NORAD draws on U.S. and Canadian military assets for its air defense missions, from fighter units to Alaska National Guard tanker missions to a Guard unit that tracks and IDs aircraft.
The fighters that are scrambled off on alert typically don't have a lot of endurance, and the distances in Alaska are vast, and so they require the support of tanker aircraft like this KC-135 we're flying aboard now.
I take in the view from a rear window as Chief Master Sergeant Wes Hudnall directs fuel into a pair of F-16s.
Offload complete.
Above a dramatic landscape.
Can the fighters on their own make it to where they need to go?
They can't. Our main goal is to offload the fuel to them so they can go off and do their mission.
And those missions are critical. In February, Lieutenant Colonel Mike Kendall and his F-22 intercepted a balloon just weeks after that infamous Chinese balloon crossed the U.S. NORAD was on high alert.
Once we got the notification, we launched, went north, and just waited for direction on what they wanted us to do. It was go inspect, fly around, provide information back to NORAD of what we were seeing.
Yeah, was it kind of a surprise for you to encounter that kind of a vehicle?
We knew the basics, what we were going out to do, but it was definitely interesting and it became real once we got up north. We're like, okay, there's actually something here.
The big picture of potential threats to North America is captured at places like this, a long-range radar station on the Aleutian Peninsula. It's a big picture, but some wonder whether it's wide enough.
Colonel Brianna Fulton coordinates support for dozens of sites, including this one in King Salmon, Alaska.
Can you tell us if these radar sites were able to see the balloon?
These radar sites were absolutely able to see the balloons.
So where was the disconnect?
The disconnect is primarily in how we filter the data.
Officials now looking at more raw radar data in order to better pick out slower objects like balloons, as it pushes for newer systems that can actually see over the horizon.
We do not currently have that capability, but that is something that will be coming.
NORAD is now leaning toward bringing AI into the picture to process data far faster than now. Underscoring, however, people, whether in a cockpit or in front of a radar screen, will still be the most important eyes and ears.
Incredible reporting there from Lester Holt. Lester, thank you. Now, there are two movies that could not be more different from one another. One is about a toy doll known for wearing a lot of bathing suits, a lot of pink. The other is about a bomb with the potential to destroy the entire world. And the most unlikely movie date combination of all time has to be what we just saw. But somehow, against all odds, Barbie and Oppenheimer became Barbenheimer, a double feature phenomenon that broke all kinds of box office records. The two films pulled in a combined $244 million across the country, with Barbie bringing in $162 million and Oppenheimer over $82 million. So was this some sort of viral marketing genius, a zeitgeisty, like social media TikTok sort of fluke, or are Hollywood blockbusters back in a whole new way? Just look at this line for Oppenheimer on opening night, taken by one of our producers. That is like Marvel or Harry Potter status. And NBC's Steve Patterson joins us now. So, Steve, first questions first. Barbie or Oppenheimer? Wait, hold on. I don't even need to ask. What is this?
Brother, you see the pink, right?
I see the pink. Is that a tweed, though?
It's tweed.
Is this for Oppenheimer? Are you doing both of them?
It's my Barbenheimer outfit. Got it, Schwartz. And you know what? I think you're asking the wrong question. The question is, which one do you see first, right? I think you see Oppenheimer, and then you see Barbie. It's like meat, potatoes, and dessert. Honestly, I'm a huge Nolan fan. The kids call it Stan. I'm a big Nolan stan, right? Like, I love The Prestige, Memento, The Dark Knight. But if you had to ask me, like, if I had one ticket, what would I see? I'd probably see Barbie. I think it is, like, the more culturally of its time significant movie, and it seems really cool. I'm hearing great things.
Now, how did this come about? Is this a viral trend on TikTok that became real life, or is this something that was planned? I've heard a lot of different things here in Hollywood. Like, you've heard that the dates were selected because of some spite and some bad blood. Like, what is the truth? Was this on purpose, or was this like the happiest accident that these directors have ever stumbled upon.
Yeah, that's the conspiracy theory, right? Like this was planned out and they were going to work, these movies opposing, somehow joining forces. I think it was just like the most organic thing possible. It's been a meme since 2022 when they were both announcing casting. So somebody made the hashtag. That hashtag has been going on for like a frickin' year. And so here we are. And it's the studios and everybody seizing on that and saying, you know what, we're not going to fight this. We're going to embrace this. And it worked out to everybody's advantage. I think it was simply just that.
And interestingly enough, like you're talking about the cast, like you expect cast to be competitive, and yet we saw the opposite. Like we saw cast being nice to each other, right? I mean, they were seeing each other's movies.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy said he would absolutely see Barbie. Everybody is seeing everybody else's movie. And I think it speaks to the fact that post-COVID, where a lot of audiences were fearful or maybe hesitant or maybe found other stuff to do after the pandemic besides sitting in a movie theater. This is these actors saying, you know what, this is good for everybody. Both of these movies are good for the industry as a whole, and having a weekend like this really points to this industry to say, folks at home can go and sit in a theater and have that same enjoyment that they did back in 2018, 2019, before all of this stuff happened. And here we go.
And now for the last part of the cosmic timing of all this. And that's we're watching this, we're celebrating all this in the midst of a writer strike and in the midst of an actor strike. Do you think that this kind of bolsters the claims of like, look, box office, this is what we do, this is where the money comes from, or is this just bad timing all around?
I think the studios could take this two ways. One way is that, look, these movies are doing great, so we don't have to necessarily come to the table as quickly as the people that are striking would like. I think the other way to see it is these movies don't write themselves, right? Like, this takes a lot of work. It's all the talent that we've accrued, and it certainly takes a lot to promote these films, as we saw with both Barbie and Oppenheimer, heavily promoted by the actors that we were just talking about. And the only reason we know that is because they were out in front of those movies. That's not going to happen for the next set of movies for however long this takes. So I think the propulsion should be to get these people back in the writing room, get the actors back on set so you can keep making brilliant movies like these.
Yeah, it would have been a whole different scenario if this would have been maybe 2 months before what we're at right now, because without the promotion, without all of that hype, I can't imagine what would have happened.
Totally different ball game, my friend. Barbieheimer, whatever. It would have been completely different. If you don't have the actors, you don't have the writers.
All right, so you're going to see Barbie first. I'll see Oppenheimer first.
We'll report back.
Compare notes. Yeah, can't wait, brother.
Sounds good, man.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Thanks.
And turning now to actor Jamie Foxx, who is recovering after a mysterious months-long medical emergency. For the first time since April, we are getting details about what he went through, and it is coming directly from him. Foxx posted about how he got through it all with support by his side. Take a quick listen.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that's prayed, man, and sent me messages. I cannot even begin to tell you how far it took me and how it brought me back. I went through something that I thought I would never, ever go through. And I know a lot of people were waiting, or wanting to hear updates, but to be honest with you, I just didn't want you to see me like that, man. I want you to see me laughing, having a good time, partying, cracking a joke, doing a movie, television show. I didn't want you to see me with tubes running out of me and trying to figure out if I was gonna make it through.
So good to see his face. Joining us now is NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin. Dana, what do we know about the medical emergency? Do we know what happened?
We still don't know, and that's the mystery that everyone has been wanting to know for weeks. You remember he went in April. We hadn't heard from him, hadn't seen from him. In May, his daughter finally addressed on social media, hey, guys, he's been out of the hospital for weeks. He was even well enough to play pickleball, but still, we didn't see him, didn't hear from him. So it really led to a lot of speculation of what was really going on. So it obviously had to be pretty bad if as we just heard, he didn't want people to see him with tubes coming out of him. But what sent him to the hospital still remains a mystery.
It's so good to see him, but he's not like the vibrant Jamie Foxx that we all. I mean, he bursts out with so much energy. Does it look like he's on the road to like 100% recovery at least?
It looks like he is on the mend. Whatever he went through, it must have been pretty serious because he felt the need, okay, now I'm strong enough to get on camera. But as you said, you can kind of see that, he went through something. But as we all know and love him, he actually used a lot of humor. Even in that video, it was emotional at times, but he also kind of poked fun at a lot of the rumors that were swirling. So let's take a listen to that.
And I know a lot of people were waiting, or wanting to hear updates, but to be honest with you, I just didn't want you to see me like that, man. I want you to see me laughing, having a good time, partying, cracking a joke, doing a movie, television show. I didn't want you to see me with tubes running out of me and trying to figure out if I was gonna make it through.
Okay, so I really wanted to play the soundbite.
We played the wrong one,
we
right?
played the wrong one, but he talked about, he addressed it, people thought I was cloned, they thought I was paralyzed, they thought he was blind.
I was just gonna ask. I was like, there's so many, and he's got a movie coming out. Like, it's like, is this a robot? Is he a clone? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, he was like, am I cloned? He was like pretending like he was gonna take his face off. He's like, no, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm here. I'm good. But he also thanked his daughter and his sister. He said that they were the ones that really saved his life. So whatever was going on, it was very serious. He also thanked his medical team. So he is on the mend. He also kind of hinted towards something big coming 2 days prior to that video being released. He actually posted a photo at a Las Vegas hotel, said he had something big coming soon. So he's probably working on maybe a business venture. We know the actor's strike is still going on. So he's not going to get back to being on set anytime soon, but maybe he's got something else up his sleeves.
Back out there is a sight for sore eyes.
Yeah.
Dana, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
And coming up, the big headlines trending around the world, including an assassination of a mayor in Ecuador. That's next. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. Let's take a quick look around the world in 80 seconds. Spain's government is kind of stuck in limbo right now after national elections ended in a stalemate on Sunday with no party getting enough votes to call themselves a winner. And while the Conservative Party did end up with more votes, the country's in for weeks of political back and forth and maybe even a new vote. And the mayor of a small city in Ecuador has been assassinated. Agustin Intriago was killed on Sunday after a man jumped out of a stolen van and shot him and the woman he was with. Now, the driver of that van was arrested, but the suspected shooter escaped. There's no word yet on the motive, but cops say the mayor had been getting threats for some time. And at least 11 people are dead in China after the roof of a middle school gym collapsed over the weekend, but no word on how many were students. And according to local reports, it might have been caused by some construction happening at that school. Meanwhile, on social media, a lot of parents seem very upset over bad communication from local authorities. And French soccer star Kylian Mbappe might just be headed to Saudi Arabia. A soccer club there is offering $1 billion, right around $1 billion in a bid for the legendary player. Now, just $300 million to his team, and that's just to talk to him, and then over $775 million for his salary, and that is just for 1 year. And speaking of soccer, there is a new star on the U.S. women's national soccer team. Her name is Sophia Smith. The 22-year-old Colorado native scored not one, but 2 goals in the team's game against Vietnam in the Women's World Cup. But her teammates are not surprised at all. NBC's Molly Hunter has more.
This team is going to be so fun to watch as the tournament goes through. So, yes, they may be the defending champs, but it's a real mix of veterans and newcomers. Of course, they won back in 2019 in France, beating the Netherlands. But this is not the same team. 14 new U.S. players making their World Cup debut, including 22-year-old Sophia Smith. But I got to say, watching her out there, sorry, we're just out on the streets of Wellington. You can hear a little bit of street noise. But watching her play, she looked at home on the world's biggest stage. She was calm, cool, collected. collected. And I spoke with her right after the game, and she was humble. She was smiley. She was excited. And no one on her team, and we spoke with a number of different players, no one on her team was surprised by her dominance. So she scored those first 2 goals. The third goal to seal that Vietnam 3-0 win was co-captain Lindsey Horan, who said, that is Sophia. I actually asked veteran star forward Megan Rapinoe, who sprinted off the bench in that game in the second half, about Sophia Smith. She said she's a menace. She said she can hurt you in so many different ways, that she's a do-it-all player. She said she's been so excited to watch Sophia Smith actually play on this world stage, making her World Cup debut. A little bit about Sophia Smith. She's 22, as I mentioned. She played 2 seasons at Stanford, won the NCAA championship in 2019. She now plays professionally for the Portland Thorns, but she is from Colorado, and we've actually met some Colorado fans who've been wearing and sporting that number 11 Sophia Smith jersey. But I think, look, first game down, second game against the Netherlands, it will definitely be a tougher matchup, but we will be watching number 11 Sophia Smith. I'll send it back to you.
A menace in the best kind of way. And before we go, it is time for the future of everything, and this one is kind of scary for us journalists, and also for anyone who might read or watch the news like you. Google is working on a new tool with, you guessed it, AI, and we're going to explain coming up next. And now for the future of this whole journalism thing and whether or not robots are going to take my job. Google is experimenting with a tool that uses artificial intelligence to generate news stories. Now, the company is pitching something called Genesis to news organizations like the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal. And according to the Times, some of the newspaper's executives described Google's pitch as unsettling because it seemed to overlook the importance of humans in journalism. Now, Google says Genesis is not designed to replace journalists, but AI is already being deployed in a lot of newsrooms, and already it's affecting credibility and, jobs. Last month, Germany's biggest daily newspaper Bild notified staff that it was planning to replace some editorial jobs with AI because they will, quote, no longer exist as they do today. Meanwhile, earlier this year, tech news outlet CNET admitted to correcting dozens of its AI-generated articles after finding numerous errors. And joining me now is Garrett DeVink, a tech reporter at the Washington Post covering Google and AI. Garrett, thanks so much for being with us. Let's just, our disclosures here. I am a journalist who uses Google, who likes to use Google and is terrified about losing my job to AI. So, and I'm sure you're in the same boat, right?
I am also a journalist, and I also use Google. It's probably the most useful reporting tool that I use on a daily basis, just looking stuff up. So, I think what's going on here is, the tech companies have created these chatbots that are able to write really complex things. You ask them to write you a poem about a summer's day. You ask them to try to pass a bar exam. They're able to spit out text that sounds like a human about a whole range of complex ideas. And I think, the tech companies say, okay, great. Who can we sell this to? Who writes for a living? And the media industry is one of them. But I also think an important point here is, journalism companies, even if this tool was perfect, even if it could replicate what you and I do on a daily basis, and all the concerns about, maybe you want humans in those roles were sort of swept aside, the media industry is not necessarily going to be able to, they're not the biggest and, most flush with cash industry out there. So I think what the AI companies are trying to do here, Google and OpenAI, is, they're trying to buy goodwill by saying, look, we're making tools that will be helpful to the media industry. We're not here to take away jobs or harm them. And they talk a lot about local news, right? So not necessarily the kind of thing that you and I do, but, those newspapers all across America that over the last decade, with Google and Facebook's rise, have seen their advertising revenue just disappear. Thousands of papers across the country and across the world have shut down because of the rise of Google and Facebook. And so the companies are sort of saying, oh, we're building tools to help local news do more with less.
Do more with less. Look, you've been covering this for quite some time. To be realistic, how do you see this playing out? Is there any stopping this, or is this going to be a wave that sweeps through?
Yeah, I think we're a really long ways away from any of these tools being able to do what not just journalists, but any person who writes or creates content for a living, obviously they're useful for a first draft, or if you just need to whip up a resume, maybe you're not very good at writing and writing is complex and, you just stare at a page. I think they're really useful for people for that. But for those of us who are sort of working day in, day out, talking to people, reading, synthesizing different things, it's still a long way off for this technology to be able to fully replace that. And I think sort of the really optimistic people at the tech companies say, oh, well, it's gotten a lot better in the last couple of years. That growth will continue exponentially, but we're not quite certain that that will actually happen. And of course, there's all sorts of other concerns. A lot of news organizations say they specifically won't use these things because they're worried that readers who already, struggle to trust the media in general will be even less trustworthy, or will feel even less trustworthy when it comes if they understand that a robot is writing what they're reading.
And that's not even to mention the maximization of attention headlines that we've been seeing going on for quite some time. People complain about the mainstream media, and yet, when you go to social media, those algorithms are primed to maximize attention. That's a form of AI that's already been used. Do you think things are going to get better for our industry in the foreseeable future here, next year, next 2 years? And I think we're almost out of time. So you could just say yes or no.
That's a big question yeah,
I know.
really
I just noticed.
Things have not gotten better for our industry over the years, but we're still here. We're still doing our work. And I think there are cases where this AI can be helpful. Research, synthesizing really, a lot of different research, helping us sift through data, looking for interesting things that we'd have to find manually. But I think ultimately, at least for the foreseeable future, we'll be writing our own stories.
Yeah. My fellow human journalist, thank you, brother. And that does it for us tonight. I'm Gadi Schwartz. We'll see you tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.